Hello, authors. Welcome. I'm Carrie Flanagan with CraveBooks, and I'm so excited to have Z.S. Diamanti with me today to share a little bit about his journey and about TikTok. And I met Zach about a year ago, and at that time, didn't even have his first book published yet. He was working on it, doing this prequels, and now he has taken the indie world by storm. He's doing everything right and building up a following, launching those books. Now he has 2 books out, the collection of prequels, some short stories, and working on an audiobook. So we're going to talk with him today about how he built that wonderful following through TikTok. So Zach, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited. And I don't do everything right, for the record.
Well, in my mind, you do quite a bit, right?
I
Well, and
tried,
you,
I do a lot of research and try to do everything
yes,
right, but even still, I don't do everything far from it.
I know. But what you did is researched, and you
That's right.
researched it. You didn't just like jump in. You, even when
Yeah.
I had met you, you had done your research and you were figuring out what was going to work. And the thing is, you do it. So you've researched, figured
Right.
out what's worked for other people, try it, and then if you have to pivot, you do. But
Yeah, make adjustments for what will work for you, right? Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So can you tell everybody just a little bit more about you and what you
Sure.
write?
Yeah, so I'm ZSD Monty or Zach. I write epic fantasy adventures right now. You can see a few of them on the shelf, but I'll hold them up anyways.
Oh,
I got
nice.
these two are already out. The Stone and Sky is my debut full-length novel. Came out in August 29th. I learned that I need to just make all my releases like the first week of a month because
Oh,
it's so annoying to try to remind like when I tell people, oh, it came out in August. Well, actually, it only came out 2 days in August. So when I'm talking about numbers, it's like, okay, we're actually talking about September, and then right. So it's. I learned my lesson. So the second book in the series, Stone and Tide, actually comes out this coming week.
nice.
Next, it's 1 week away. So February 6th. So exciting. And I made that one. That one's going to be first week of a month, so I don't have to adjust all of my statements for the rest of my life. But epic fantasy adventure, classic style, really fun, magic and adventure and griffins and wyvern riding orcs and all sorts of fun stuff like that. I've had a lively social media, a living social media presence for almost a year, not quite a year.
Hmm.
Before that,
Okay.
it was pretty much dead. Yeah, pretty much all of my accounts were dead. I never used them.
Oh,
I didn't even use social media like personally. So it was just not something I had. And it wasn't necessarily something I thought I wanted. I didn't really want it, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I recognized it in all my research. I recognized that it is a very, very important piece of growing an audience as an author, right? So.
right.
Yeah, and so
So,
now a year later, right?
yeah.
We're not quite a year later, but almost a year later, we've got I think we're somewhere in the 30,000s of followers and on TikTok, and I think we're closing in on 10,000 on Instagram, and a few thousand on all the other places, all the rest of the places combined, right? So, I mean, we're trucking along around 50 something thousand followers on the different platforms, which may not sound like a lot, but if you know how to leverage it
Yeah.
and you know how to utilize it, it's it can actually really explode your career.
Which is what is happening right now for you. So one of those platforms is TikTok, and
Totally.
you jumped in there. Why, like, what made you decide to do TikTok? I mean,
Yeah,
Facebook, people know how to use Facebook, Instagram, but
sure.
TikTok's a little different.
Yeah, TikTok
So
was
why?
is a different beast. And so the idea was a lot of people were talking about TikTok. They were saying book
Hmm.
talk, book talk, book talk, book talk. It's so
Right.
important to be on book talk. And actually, really, book talk has really reshaped the way that readers are buying books because my uh, um, my physical sales are way higher than my ebook
Mhm.
sales, which has not been the
Wow.
trend for a lot of people over the last few years.
Right.
And
Right.
so Book Talk really kind of has been reshaping the way that readers are buying books, because what do they want to do? They want a book in
Mhm.
hand. They want something pretty and something they can show off, and they could be like, "Oh, look at the epic map in this book right here. You gotta see it." And they're pulling it, they're flipping through just so they could show you how pretty the map is in a book, right? And they
Right.
want to show you how pretty the spine is and how everything lines up, because that makes us all happy. I get it. But people want to be able to have something in hand that they can share about, especially in video format. And the TikTok
Mhm.
was designed for that, right? And so it was people talking about book talk, book talk, book talk, book talk. You got to be on it. People are talking about books like crazy. You got to be doing it. Okay, fine. I'll do it. Made the decision. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it. I think I made my count at like the end of January, beginning of February last year, and I didn't post a thing in it for about several weeks, because
Okay.
I was training the algorithm, right? So I was training the algorithm to know what my account was about. So what that means is I was getting in the search feature. I was swiping away every video that had nothing to do with fantasy books,
Yeah.
because I wanted the algorithm to know I'm about fantasy books. My account is about fantasy books. And I want my account to be recognized. And then when I do finally post, I want it to go out to the people who are also about fantasy books. So I was training the
Right.
algorithm for weeks, just searching, 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 searching. Um, Man, it was epic fantasy books, classic style fantasy, um, clean fantasy, fantasy adventures, fantasy authors, indie fantasy authors. I mean,
Mhm.
all the things I could think about, like within the realm of the niche, that's what I was
Mhm.
searching. I was training the algorithm to know that that's the kind of account that I've got right here. And then I was also engaging on other creators' content that was in that niche. I was
Mhm.
other indie authors that were doing it. They've got, 15,000 followers. And I was going, okay, well, let me follow these guys. They've obviously figured something out. Let me figure out what they're doing.
Right.
Engaging on their posts and training the algorithm to know that I like those posts. I engage with those posts. I engage with those people. Those people engage with me. And I was setting everything up, right? Yeah, I had to build a foundation before I actually posted anything. Most people just say, "Oh yeah, it's you got to be on Book Talk," and people, post their first video. They're like, "I got a book. I wrote this book. You gotta read this book," and you're like, no, that wasn't that. Now
Right.
it's going out to 200 random people that have literally no interest in fantasy books, and you just set yourself up for failure. So you have to train the algorithm to know what your account is about before
Mhm.
you even start posting. And that's what I did. My first post, the next day I had 1,000 followers, which is the first goal that everybody has, right? Everybody has
Right.
this goal to get 1,000 followers. Why? Because you want to put that link in your bio.
Excellent. So teaching the algorithm before you even posted and
Yeah,
you just got on there because a lot of people they go on and they see all these videos that don't interest them. They figure that's all TikTok is about.
sure.
So you got to go in and find the things you want, and then TikTok will feed you more of those.
Correct. And not
And
only does TikTok feed you more of those, but it also recognizes that if that's what you like to see, that's also probably what you're going to post. In which case, if
right,
you've trained it, it'll say, oh, okay, well, this is the kind of content he likes. And these are the people who also like this kind of content. Let's, hey, let's see what his post does. We'll throw it out to the best people, like to the people that like this.
right,
And like I said, you can get your first 1,000 followers in a weekend, right?
right. So what tips do you have for creating content? And
Yeah.
then like how often do you post and is it consistent? And yeah, tell me
Yeah,
more.
especially while you're growing, it's important to have a sense of consistency. So we're we're really talking about the more lotto tickets that you buy, the better your chances are to win the lottery. Now, I don't necessarily condone running out and spending all your money on lottery tickets because let's be honest, it's you're talking one in millions. Your options are you might your chances are slim, right? But the reality is that you're playing the viral lottery is what you're playing. So every time you post a video, it's a chance, it's a ticket in the viral lottery that could potentially go viral. And it could be a video that gets you thousands and thousands of views or hundreds of thousands of views that make you go, holy cow, here we go. All of a sudden it's working, right? And it is so important to post regularly, especially where you're trying to grow. I go through spurts now where I will post regularly. I'll post 3 times a day when I'm trying to grow, when I'm in between things, when I'm not in the middle of a launch or something, or I'm not in the middle of, like doing a Kickstarter or whatever, when I'm not actively engaged in like 7 other things, I go, okay, time to grow the following a little bit. Let's work on that. Let's knock out some content. Let's make sure we're posting regularly 3 times a day, especially on TikTok. Really hit 3 times a day of videos. And it doesn't have to be long videos. It could be 7 seconds for this video, 40 seconds for that video, 21 seconds for that video, 1 minute and 30 seconds for that video. It doesn't matter. It just has to be consistent. And you're throwing tickets into the machine, hoping that one of them is going to go viral, right? And the other thing about that is that every time you post, if I got 35,000 views on every single video I made, man, the algorithm would love me like crazy. But TikTok doesn't work that way. They don't send it out to all of your followers first, right? It sends it out to people that it thinks will like this video. And if it doesn't, it thinks that your account is about those things, and they go, okay, these people are about those things, right? That's why you can't get stuck scrolling on TikTok. You'll get yourself in trouble. You'll get your algorithm retrained, and then you're going to have issues trying to get your videos out to the right people. So don't get caught scrolling, okay? If you want to scroll on TikTok, make a personal account. Make a separate account that has nothing to do with your author business, right? But you want to post regularly, especially in seasons of growth. You want to make sure you're posting like 3 times a day. Now, the great part about it is it doesn't send it all to your followers. It does send it out to new people. So as long as you have a call to action at the last few seconds of the video that says something like follow for more. For me, it's a lot of the time it's follow for more fantasy book content. It's just a little thing that pops up on the screen that says that. And a call to action is so important because you'll see a distinct difference in your follows per video when you don't put a call to action and when you do put a call to action. So it's distinct. But make sure that you're posting regularly, especially in seasons of growth. It's pretty important. 3 times a day, and try to space them out at least a few hours from each other.
All right. And then I assume it's important if people leave comments that you're engaging with those people as well.
Yes. So especially while you're trying to grow, that is probably the most important thing that you can do. Once you get to a certain point and you get so many comments, listen, I get it. You're not going to be able to keep up with them all. I can't. It's impossible. I'll take every couple of days, I will go back in and I'll try and catch up with all the comments, but it gets crazy at a certain point. However, especially when you're starting out, you have to be engaging with every comment. And let's say it this way: engage with every positive comment. If you get negative comments, man, you don't want to play that game. You don't want to, those aren't the kinds of people that you want to draw towards yourself. You want positive
Sure.
people, right? We all want good vibes only, right? You only want good vibes only. And those are the comments that you're going to want. You're going to get trolls, ignore them, move on. Engage all the people who are great and who are wanting to have fun with you. TikTok really loves people on TikTok really love to have fun. So if you're having fun, they want to be a part of it. Make sure you're engaging with them for sure.
Exactly. And something I've noticed on TikTok is, unlike Facebook, you can reuse content, you can reuse videos.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so it helps to cut down the amount of work in a
sure.
sense. So tell me a little bit more about how you reuse content.
Yeah, so I'm actually really bad at that. But I can tell you this, I do know that it works. If you guys don't know who AP Beswick is, he's awesome. He's a great author, and he made a killing on TikTok last year. He reposts all the time. I mean, he'll post a post and then he'll post it again, a couple hours later, sometimes the next day, whatever. He reposts like crazy because he recognized that the reality is that TikTok doesn't send it to your followers necessarily. So you throw out a video and you get 1,000 views on it. Well, guess what? It's probably worth another go. Throw it out again because it'll probably get another 1,000 views or maybe even more. I remember talking to Adam just a few months back. We were talking about it, and he was like, "Sometimes I'll post and it does nothing. I'll get 1,000 views or something, or 500 views or whatever. It'll do nothing. But then I'll post it again like 2 days later. I'll change the music or change the hashtags on it, and it'll go viral. I'll get 100,000 views on it, and I'll be like, I, okay. And so there is a lot of experimentation, but the reality is you can reuse content. It's not like Instagram where if people see the same video over and over and over, they're like, dude, you just keep posting this thing. It's driving me crazy. I get it. But on TikTok, it doesn't necessarily go to your followers. It goes out to everybody else. So it's
Right.
very, very conducive for that. And if you batch create your content, man, you'll be killing it. And by batch creating content, I mean take 2 hours on a Saturday and make as many videos as you can. And I'm not talking about editing because you're gonna have to edit on the fly, okay? Make as many raw videos as you can, and
Sure.
then you'll have videos in your drafts that you can edit uh, you know, when it's okay for you to do so. When you have some time to do that, maybe you're sitting on
Mhm.
the couch and watching TV at night or whatever with the fam. You just sitting there and editing videos while you're watching TV. No big deal. But batch create. So shoot them all with all the outtakes and everything. Don't worry about it. And sometimes you should. Sometimes include your outtakes because really sometimes they're funny and people love to have fun and laugh. So it's good stuff.
All right, now you built up a good TikTok following, and then you took it to the next level with TikTok Shop, and that just opened. I mean, that it hasn't been around honestly that long.
Right.
Um,
So TikTok Shop really kind of hit the US this
yeah.
past summer.
Yep.
And so they've been working on a lot of things on the TikTok Shop side and they've been pushing it as well because what they want to do is get people into their system. They want them to be
Sure.
in their ecosystem so that people will buy products. Once somebody makes a purchase from TikTok and this isn't just TikTok. This is really any retailer anywhere, online, in person, where whatever. If you make a purchase from a store one time and you have a good experience with it and everything worked out kosher and you're like, okay, yeah, no, this is great, you're way more likely to go back and buy more things. So TikTok has done so much pushing on the TikTok shop, especially including giving sellers different discounts and other things by and even like including discounts for buyers that
Mm.
don't come out of sellers cuts, which has been so cool, right? And it gets more readers, gets more books into people's hands. Now, remember with TikTok, everybody likes physical copies. So where I've seen great great success on the TikTok shop is with physical books. So signed, autographed books. And we do book boxes. That's what we do. I mean, my we had my wife and my son just cleaned up the box mountain in our garage just the other day because we've been buying stock and buying supplies for the boxes and buying packaging supply. You got to have a rotation, right? And TikTok really likes it if you have stock in the system. And so and we call the hallway the box gauntlet because we just got it's crazy right now. Especially we got a launch coming up next week. So it's crazy. But the point is that TikTok really likes TikTok users really like physical things that they can show, they can take pretty pictures of, they can make little videos holding it, and they like to hug them, whatever. They love physical copies. So selling autographed books, and that's us fulfilling it, of course. So that does take some time. So you really have to figure out what kind of time you have to manage that kind of thing. We make it
Sure.
a whole family affair, and the whole like all hands on deck. It's time to pack a bunch of boxes. Hey, we got 86 boxes. Time to pack them all up. Let's go, everybody. Assembly line. Let's kill it, right? And we do it as a fam. You'll have to figure out how to manage that yourself. But what I can tell you is that there is a huge market on TikTok for people selling autographed books, especially if you're making other content on TikTok about just things in your niche. So if you're a romance author and you're making content just about romance books in general, guess what? You're going to gather a following. This is the right way to do it. You want to gather people who are interested in the general, like your niche,
Mhm.
before you tell them about your books. And that's why we saw such huge success, especially on the launch of Stone and Sky.
Okay. Well, that's great. And any quick tips on setting up a TikTok shop? Are there good videos? Like, does TikTok have good videos or any quick tips on that? We don't have to
Yeah,
go into all the steps, but
yeah, that one's a little tricky. But I will say, one of the really cool things that you can do is you want to have your author account because you want to grow a following. You want people that's where you want to gather the people, right? So you
Mhm.
want to have your author account. And now, in order to grow on TikTok, you really need to be able to use a lot of the trending audios and things like that because TikTok really relies a lot on those things. So if you make your author account a business account, you're going to run into trouble because you're going to lose all those audios and you won't be able to use them. So don't do that. So what you want to do is you actually want to set up a separate publishing account. So for example, ours is Golden Griffin Publishing, or Golden Griffin Press, and the we made the TikTok shop under the publishing house rather than making it under my author account. Then what we were able to do is after you have 5,000 followers, which is easier to grow to than you think, you really got to buckle down and hit those 3 times a day, really try and make content around the niche, not necessarily your books, around the niche of your books. And then you'll get up to 5,000 and you'll be able to be an affiliate for your own shop. And that's
Okay.
the way to do it.
All right. Well, thank you, Zach, for sharing all of your knowledge with us today. Good luck on your book launch.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
where can you tell everybody your website? And
Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in classic style epic fantasy adventures, all the stories in here, there's 7 fantasy stories about characters that you meet in the rest of the series. And you can actually get the 7 stories for free at my
Ooh.
website. Um, and you can do that at freefantasyfiction.com. And I know that sounds crazy because people are like, what? Freefantasyfiction.com. How did you get that? I know I had to find something that made sense, that was easy to spell, that was easy to remember because I say zsdiamanti.com, which is my website. People just go Diamanti. How do I spell that part? Yeah, I get it. So freefantasyfiction.com, you'll be able to find all, it's attached to my website. So you'll be able to find all of my stuff. And that's where you can connect with me on TikTok and Instagram and wherever else you like to do social media. I'm pretty much on all of them at this point, all the major ones anyway. So plenty of ways to connect.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Zach. And yeah, we will be in touch.
Awesome. Thanks. See you guys later.